Twitter, that's where people have their own opinions. Okay, MacG was out of line and stuff like that. But they have a beef.
Nkululeko on Cultr.
Yo, hello everyone. Welcome to Nkululeko on Cultr. We're talking about sexual intercourse and the fact that it lasts sometimes for 60 seconds. I'm going to last here less than 60 seconds. Enjoy the episode. This is Mbuyi, my former colleague. And of course, these are my colleagues as well, Nhlanhla and Tholo and Mbuyi. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the episode.
Poor performance, Mbuyi. Poor performance.
Oh, that was less than 60 seconds. Come back. Was that a warm-up? Anyway, okay, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
What are you doing here?
Because you invited me here. You were like, come over.
Now she wanna act like you
No, but I'm izinto, so I'm just like, okay, let me go see what's happening there.
Yeah.
Okay, so far, how is Zinto treating you?
It's nice. It's cool. It's chilled.
Oh, Nana.
So, sikhuluma ngani namhlanje.
Oh, wait, sikhuluma ngezinto eziningi. Oh, Mr. T, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
We were not with you last week. We missed you.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately.
welcome back.
Thank you.
Good to
Thank
have you back. And now there's somebody
It's exciting
else,
to be
like
back.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that said, there's been a lot that's happening in our country, in the world. And I think what stands out, I don't know where to start, but I'll start right at the beginning. Our colleague in the space, MacG and Cassper Nyovest, have got that thing going on. I mean, it's not a secret. They've had a public spat for a while where Cassper has said that he's not going to go to MacG. So he didn't really state those reasons. But then there's a drunk MacG that said certain things. I missed that. Please take me through it.
I think you know better on that one.
Well, on his podcast, he just said, he's tired of Cassper, allegedly, apparently.
Yes,
Yeah,
alleged.
alleged.
Yeah.
He's tired of Cassper. We're giving Cassper too much of the limelight, and also because he had interviewed Dame Dash
Yeah.
a while ago.
Who's Dame Dash? For those
You
that
don't know?
No. For those that don't know.
know.
Oh, Dame Dash used to be and still is a very iconic figure in the hip hop industry. So he's the one who gave us Jay-Z. He's the one who gave us Kanye West.
Yeah.
They used to run Rockefeller together with Abu Jay-Z. So that era of Rockefeller,
The hip hop era.
the hip hop era.
Yeah.
So Dame Dash was one of the masterminds behind all of that. So he had an interview with MacG, and MacG was just saying, if we can call, should we cut? Or
Now we continue.
my phone was ringing.
Please just put it on silence. We are recording.
Askisini guys, White King online for a producer.
Busy people.
Darlings. So he was just saying, if we had to call them Dash at this moment, he knows us, but he doesn't know Cassper Nyovest.
And Cassper's a hip hop artist.
Yeah.
Is he a hip hop artist in your opinion?
Hey! I think, I think he qualifies as a hip hop artist. Yeah, but I think if you look at like the staunch hip hop lovers, they're the rubric.
Yes.
I don't think he fits
He wouldn't cut the
that
list. He wouldn't cut it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so did he respond, or was the just MacG like what's the
Because people also
situation?
chimed in on Twitter. Twitter, that's where people have their own opinions. Okay, MacG was out of line and stuff like that. But they have a beef. And, a beef is a beef.
Could that be part of him hyping the diss track? After the diss track, because remember, everybody came. Okay, Big Zulu had that diss track.
Yeah.
That everybody, like, he dissed everyone, right? And then we had Questa, we had KO, we had Duncan. I think the respondents, like, that immediately responded with their diss tracks.
Yeah.
And then 7 days later, or maybe 8-9 days later, Cassper Nyovest came out and then had his diss track. So, like, it kind of did injustice to the whole diss tracking thing because like everybody came out, like, you know, it was a wave. And then he comes back after the wave is like subsided, and then he wants to come back with that. And then there's this MacG thing going on. But who went for who first? Maybe let's establish that. Was it MacG that went for Cassper, or what's happening there?
How their beef started? I don't know.
Okay.
I can't remember.
All right.
But yeah, speaking of the diss track.
Because that also trended, you know, where people are not impressed. They were like, you should have just lifted.
Yeah, my thing is, I'm not a hip hop person, but I know the golden rule is if you're going to release a diss track, then the comeback needs to be within
Yes.
because then it shows credibility. You can think on your feet. It's
Yeah.
like ciphering.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
Yeah.
mandiya kuwe nawe uzakimi, mandiya
Yeah.
kuwe
Siya.
siya. And I mean, Beauty Zulu came through, KO came through, Duncan came through, Questa came through, and it was just like, you. So it brought that element of, I think a lot of people, what they were missing in hip hop, like, oh, okay, because, you know, Amapiano came into the scene and it had people shook for days. But I think, you know, 7 days, as if you consider yourself an MC, a lyricist, it's
too delayed.
very.
It's belated. Like too belated. Like we've forgotten about that. We've moved on to
Yeah, it's just like, okay, fam.
So out of a scale of 1 to 10, as a hip hop, as an MC, as a cypher person, how do you rate him?
Cassper,
Yeah.
in general.
No, in hip hop. I know you said you're not a hip hop person, but like, I mean, surely you do know what it takes to be like a staunch hip hop person. And you said he wouldn't cut that list, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
But he rates like Mangabe 1 to 10. Does he at least make it into the top 10?
Yeah, you know, I'd get like he's done a lot for the hip hop culture. Right. He has moved the envelope, like filling up stadiums, and you know, because that takes a big deal for a local artist to do that one man. Because usually it's like international artists would come through, then they would be the opening acts, and we would rally up to go to CHAZ, whoever, you know. So I would give him a 7 out of 10 because he's not the best to ever do it, but he was smart enough to capitalize on the beef he had with AKA because it caused, you know, interaction between people, and there was a wave, there was hype. Then I think he jumped on that hype and used it to his leverage.
Okay, your thoughts?
Look, I think he's quite dynamic as an artist. I mean, he's able to do different genres, and the truth is he always brings it on. Are you good?
I'm good.
All right. Sfuno, you have to be right.
Case was
J-Lo.
Yay!
okay, so
Yabo.
Now I'm comfortable. I'm going proper. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I was saying, I think he's quite a dynamic artist that is able to move around different genres, and he always pulls it off. I mean, he did Amapiano, he pulled it off. He did hip hop, he pulled it off, and all of that. Perhaps with this one, it might not have been at the level that we expect, because also other artists, it's a matter of if they create from their creative juices, they're able to bring it on. But if they have to counteract, or you know, it's more of that pressure of wanting to bring it on, and you miss certain things, and also the pressure of time to actually get it out as quick as possible. So it could be that as well, you know. But I think he's a brilliant artist, and I think one thing that I respect about him the most is the fact that he's that dynamic. He's able to move from different genres, and
his kind of entrepreneurship skills, man. I mean, like, I think he's just gifted. Like, he's a marketing genius as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's give that to him. And he's, like you said, one person that can leverage on anything that's there right now, and how he just capitalizes on it. And the fact that he's really proud, you know, that he did not complete his matric. However, he's doing far greater things than people that did not. Not to say it's a good or a bad thing to be in school or out of school. We're not having that debate right now.
No. But the fact is, with him, he is naturally talented. I think we should highlight that he's naturally talented. So going to school is important, yes, but for people that decide not to go to school and they're that gifted, it's still okay. Yeah.
Okay, no, we'll have it some other day.
No,
Because we're talking about him, about the music, about what he's done.
But also-
and,
But that's
the
his
whole
background
thing.
as well.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but also, do you think, because, with hip hop, you need to be a very articulate person.
Isn't he?
Articulate, well-learned.
Isn't he?
Not necessarily.
Articulate?
No.
well-learned.
I'm saying
Because
that-
also remember, you can have a team around you that assists you with certain
Exactly.
things that you are
Yes.
unable to.
Afford it.
But guys, there's a reason why Nas is one of the greatest of all times, is because his mother was a teacher and he's always loved reading. There's certain things that you learn from school,
Right.
English,
And then?
abo alliteration, there's certain things that play, you can, the song might be hot, the song might be good, but when you're sitting and you're like, okay, play of words, that's hip hop.
That's
You
what
play with.
made him come back with a diss track 7 days later. Could that have been a contributing factor?
Maybe. He's a smart guy. But the genre of hip hop, the beauty about it's the play on words. It's the dissing you without knowing that I'm dissing you, where I need to go back and be like, "Hey man, or without being obvious about it. That's the beauty about hip hop. It's like poetry.
Yeah,
You know,
emotion, yeah.
it's like that, And I just feel like you need school,
So maybe that's
or
why-
not even school, but you just need to love the art of reading, the
Maybe
art
he
of.
reads.
I'm not saying he
Just
doesn't
didn't
read.
complete his matric and everything else he does. So are you blaming the education part for the 7-day comeback diss track? Yes or
No,
no?
I think for him it was maybe strategic. That, okay, let others release before. Because now he's in America, and not America, the UK. And he's having the time of his life. So I think it was part of the threat to be like, gonna release then. Because now the attention is got Cassper, and he's where? In the UK. So he knows how to work the entertainment industry and pop culture as a whole.
Okay. All right. No, I think we should leave it there. As
Please.
far as,
For now.
Hey,
now, we'll
please.
come
Hey,
back.
please.
Let's
There's more to unpack. There's more to unpack.
There's so much to unpack, but let's try and talk about more serious things. Politics, politics. I call them politics because they are unfolding as such every week as we are seeing. I don't even know where to start because there's so many, right? In Johannesburg, the executive mayor of the city of Johannesburg, Mpopalazi, they are proposing a motion of no confidence against her. She's been in office for 9 months. And the Pala Gate, Ubekele says he doesn't know anything because that case was never reported. So there's very little that he can do. What else stood out? Oh yes, our former statesman Jacob Zuma. Karen Moore, who's a media colleague in the space, published the medical records of the former statesman, and he's going at her simply for that. So where do we start?
And his son
Piki
as well.
Mabelan.
There's division in terms of him running for the presidency. There's people are divided in opinions. Yeah.
Because,
So let's start with the first one.
Because I want to start with the last
Mpo-
one, and then let's just get it out of the way.
Okay.
Because when you are running for presidency, it's a process, right?
It is.
It's a process whereby we need to start in our regions. We need to go and vote actually within our branches before we actually go to the zone, and then from the zone we'll elevate to the regional branches, and then we go provincial is then when we'll go national, right? But then there's a lot of brewing, the independence that's coming up, right? But even so, with the independent parties, you still need a process and a procedure that you need to undergo.
Yeah.
And you need to have been within the structures, maybe in your neighborhood, call it the zone, right? Because that's when the branches are then like gathering together to form a zone.
Yeah.
So him wanting to come in as a political leader nationally, and he's been asked if he wants to run for presidency or not. He's just been always political about that response, whether he wants to come on board or not. And he's just never really given a straight answer. And right now, the end of 2022
But isn't that
here.
typical of him?
Or politicians for that matter. So he sort of adapted the personality of politicians along the way. So, but I don't think he's anything that we can speak about now until we know for a fact what his clear intentions are. Because like he says this today, he says that tomorrow. He's probably playing an underground game.
But he's been doing a lot of stuff around KZN. He's been doing a lot of stuff in different communities. And in doing that, you can see that the intention is to do exactly what you're saying, that in this region, let me be present. So now I can be known. Then it could be easier then for me to take it up higher, in the levels.
Hence I'm saying the independent candidacy that's slowly brewing could be how he's utilizing it by going for the poor. I'm going to put it as it is, and sort of like being around them, helping them, and psychologically affecting the votes that may swing his way. Maybe he's just building, maybe he's got vision 20, after 2024, it's about 2028. Yeah, so he's probably got a bigger vision than that. Or maybe he's got a vision 2032 and it's just bubbling under for now. But like I said, like he's not like something that we can like dwell on, because like there's more pressing matters where, the state of us as South Africans is in complete tatters, and our safety as the citizens of this country is like in more danger than it ever was before. When the Minister of Police says he has no idea what the Phala Phala Gate is all about because nothing was reported to him. It's something that is in the newspapers.
It's worrying.
Now, as the Minister of Police, he says, "Hi, next."
Because Lesetja Kganyago had actually written to the president's legal team requesting information because apparently there has to be some kind of a declaration made when a foreign currency is brought into the country of that amount. So he says he got part of the information he's looking for. So now he's written again, giving them a specific time to say, give me more information based on the information that I need. So if Lesetja Kganyago is able to get that kind of information, why is the Minister of Police not knowing anything?
Is it politics or politics play?
But exactly.
Can I ask something? Are we, as the citizens of South Africa, how can I put this, too lenient on the government? Because you see in other countries,
of recent times even.
Where the people are the power, the people are the government, But with us, it seems like we find better ways to cope
we are
with
trying.
the situation.
It
was COVID,
people.
then we switched it up.
You're civil people now. You no longer you no longer take part in all these things. You are here. We are tweeting.
Yeah,
everything.
and also it's just petrol is going up ridiculously, and videos are coming out on TikTok, people just explaining how it works. And we are able to accommodate.
I think we're too divided as a nation, and that's what makes everything worse. Because I can be here, but somebody's funding my lifestyle that is making decisions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm maybe brought here to address a certain agenda and be within the people, to speak on behalf of certain people. And because, that's how propaganda actually exists, right? And so we may all together come and say, no, this is what we're doing. And then they'll spot the ones that are, what's the word I'm looking for? Aggressive, the ones that are radical. The radical ones will be spotted in the crowd, called in, and then they will know what your needs are, in fact. Because they'll say, no, we know you've got a child that's in and out of hospital.
Lifestyle
we know
audit.
that your child is this and that and that and that.
Lifestyle
your brother,
audit.
your mother, you this
She's
and that.
in the fundo most of life.
You know, this is how we can actually help you.
Yeah.
But you gotta tone down a bit.
Yeah, and I think that's why my view is that we're complacent because we don't hold any of these politicians accountable. And we don't do that collectively. So, because if we do it collectively, then they cannot be able to spot the certain radical ones because it will be all of us doing it together. I think in the previous generation, if I should put it that way, in the previous era, citizens were very, like we say, were divided, but they worked together to hold government accountable. They were working for a common goal. So now that we're not active, they're able to sway things whichever way they want, whichever way it works for them. And the fact that also there's a lot of fight amongst themselves up there. They've even forgotten about the reasons why they're there, why they what they should be doing and why they should be doing it. So now we're suffering here because they're busy fighting each other there.
The
You
elephants are fighting the grass. Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's us in this case.
Exactly.
But then the question is, you know, as much as they're fighting, as much as we look at the current situation of the country and you're like, and some would argue that, you know, within the African diaspora, we are part of the top tier as compared to our fellow brothers and sisters. But also when you look at, you know, us millennials, Generation Z, do we really understand politics
We don't.
for us to even have an informed opinion? Because we can easily say, yeah, why is petrol going up? Why is load shedding happening? But then the intricate parts where we can hold these people accountable, I'll be honest, I don't know.
But it's because funny enough, we're the ones with access to information. The former era, generation, they didn't look. They were consuming information, a lot of information. They would gather. They would find facts
And
somehow.
they'll make efforts to find it.
Born, it's a click of a button, but we don't exercise that because you know why? Because we're not so. We're not concentrating on the right things that are going to be the betterment of this country, that are not going to change us, build us, and make sure that future generations, like the ones, I mean, those guys had to fight. There was blood that had to be spilled for us to have the freedom of doing podcasts, of walking around freely, going to the schools that we want to, and just living the life that we want to, right? But now, because there was no baton that was passed on to us, in terms of saying, this is not where the struggle ends. It's actually the beginning, because now you need to know how to run the stock markets. You need to know how to run the farming, how to build a community that's going to be sustainable, how to have those schools that we used to have in the communities running and continuously growing within the community. Now, instead, we were all running away from what the core of us getting that freedom was. We went to multiracial schools, those universities, and we just left, right? And we never came back. There are some people that came back to build a thing or two within the community, giving back. But now when you come back, it's like, yeah, he's doing this for those and not for the rest of us.
But there's not enough resources, you know, because you can't help anybody.
You can't help everyone, you know. You can only help a certain portion. But after you, somebody else has to come and join you so that you guys can do it more and more. And that's how it's going to be generational. So because Bahambi Labantu and they never came back, they built houses in the wherever suburbs that they built houses in. Their children are there. They can't even speak a single vernacular language because they don't speak that language. You know? So we've lost a lot of battles along the way, and I'm not sure, but I know for a fact that it's actually not too late. It's a matter of collectively having like conversations like this that will drive the people back, that will make people think again, you know, and find solutions to say, okay, guys, this is where they were, right? All they wanted was freedom, because a lot of black people, it was black on black violence, it was white on black violence. So as a black person, you were just always on the shooting end, you know, wherever you went, you were in the misfire of everything. But now that that is gone, how do we then make life better? How do we then make our community better? How do we then come together and maybe grow vegetables? Maybe, like, you know, there's certain things that we should be collectively doing. And if somebody messes with that, uzothola isibhaco. And then for those that abomakhenika abafixa imoto, I mean, there's kids that are like, fixing things in the house. Go there, go sit in that mama, help him. That's how, for me, township economy is going to circulate. But in the bigger scale of things, the informal economy side of things will eventually grow. That means what? We're not fighting on the streets anymore. We are fighting with our minds by doing greater things that will translate into us growing economically. Because I think that's how we need to channel our energies. Yes, we won't always go out there, see Ola, and come back. Look, they used live ammunition, Komarikana, when they were not supposed to do that. There's people, every time there's a mass gathering of some sort, there's people that get injured, there's people that die. So do we now want that to be on our hands? To say, we're trying to fix the government, we're trying to alert them that this is what we want. And then in the process, some of us are dying in there. But like, how about, find ways, right? The president is writing to us, is it every week? Where the president has got those letters that are, it's time maybe we do that as well. To say, based on the letter that you wrote, can we engage you on this as just general society people, as people that want to understand what's going on in the country? Maybe those things are the things that will help. Because Ugula, yes, like we've got that. No doubt about it. But like, how is that going to help right now?
But then what is our fight? Because I think that's the most confusing thing. It's like, oh, okay, cool. If we understand the history of the country, but also you get to a point where, okay, cool, you guys got us here. So we are trying to figure out, especially Black people, there's Black text, there's traumas of our parents, but also we are a woke generation. So you find yourself in a confusing space where you're like, I'm too woke for this. But then you still need to do these other things because mentality is also like, because sometimes I do understand people who leave and never come back because it's like, once you've grown out of something, outgrew something, and you're trying to have a conversation that's going to better you or better somebody else. But then, I want to get Rice Krispies. Rice Krispies. Then you ask yourself that, oh, okay, cool. I'm not trying to look down on other people. It's not me looking down on other people, but because the caliber of conversation that I'm trying to experience and grow myself and be cultured, I'm no longer gonna get namajimbos wase ekhoneni yabo kuzoba mnandi ukuthi okay ngizothenga leyo beer or ngithenga leyo kholi 2 minutes then I'm gone.
Yeah, that's what they do actually. You are so spot on.
Because it's like
you become big boss.
Because you conversation. Why is it a conversation when I teach? It's like but also when you have serious conversation and a person can meet you where you are at, it's very beautiful. But it's hard to find.
It's extremely hard to find because those guys, where they are, it's cold. Like the higher you go, the colder it gets. Because now. So when you try and go back to it, guys, there's only one thing you can do.
It's 60 and
that's it. And then you'll talk about the good old days. That's the best you can do. But I don't know, man.
I think there are three things, that we are fighting at the moment. There's poverty, there's unemployment, there's lack of access, right? A whole lot. I think majority of South Africans are living in poverty. They're living in poverty because they don't have some kind of work that they're doing, and that is probably there are no opportunities of employment, and on the other side, they could be trying to establish businesses or trying to do something, but there's no access either to information or to funding, that kind of a thing. So they find themselves sitting at home. You find that it's a family of 6 or so, and there's only one person that is working, and they have to feed the whole family. If not, maybe the grandmother is getting, SASA at the beginning, SASA grant. So now she has to make sure that stretches out throughout the month for everyone to be okay, right? Unemployment rate, it's so high, and it seems to be fluctuating as though it's coming down, but it's actually not when you look at it, because you question even the statistics when they go out and you're told that, okay, now it seems to be coming down, but you're looking at how the economy is doing, and you're looking at other factors, and you start wondering, but is it really, going down? So the issue is, are there jobs out there? Yes or not? And what could be other opportunities for people to work, right? We always say entrepreneurship, and I strongly believe that entrepreneurs are born, because it's not easy to be an entrepreneur.
It's not.
It's not easy
But
to be an
I don't
entrepreneur.
think they are not born. Sorry to interject, ne? I think it's just a mindset, and to prepare people about the truth of entrepreneurship, not the glitz and glamour of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because I think right now we buy entrepreneurship, we buy into the end product. We don't buy into the process.
I hear what you're saying, but the reason I'm saying that is an entrepreneur has an ability to do marketing, HR, finance, everything that a business needs.
Yeah.
Not everybody is able to do that. An entrepreneur can do that having studied, let's say they've studied engineering and they start business in beauty products. But they will, when they start, they will do everything that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And not everybody has that ability to do that. That's what I'm saying. Entrepreneurs are born. But over time, you can learn to do that.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So I think we shouldn't box ourselves in saying everybody should start their own businesses. Those that are able and that can, they should. So they can be able to hire those that can work for others.
And partnering with people.
Yes, I was about to say that.
It's also a great one. And I think that one can actually take us way further and quicker.
Yeah.
Because then we bring skills together, we're bringing our minds together, then we can build something bigger.
Collaboration, competition.
But at the same time, we don't want to do that. For some reason, if you come and say, Tholo...
No, you just want ufuna yonke le mali ngoba bathi ithenda i5 million sengiyapheka ukuthi kumele ngishare noNhlanhla kumele ngishare nobani mina ngifuna iBenz ngifuna I think that's the biggest problem eshayayo thina as people and also as black people is ukuthi we can't then say I know Nhlanhla is strong in presenting, pitching ideas and making them colorful, and so I'm not strong in that. So why can't I sit down Nhlanhla and be like, hi Nhlanhla, this is what I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to go to Nkululeko, wada. There's a potential of us earning like R1 million, so maybe 20% can go to you. And so for me, I think there are jobs. There are really, really jobs, but also as people, you have preferences. Nobody wants to be a security guard. Nobody wants to be a cleaner. Nobody wants to go to a Pick and Pay or Spar or Woolies and pack food, on the shelves. But also looking at the poverty line, is that money also enough to sustain you when our household is like 6-7 people and now you're going to be the breadwinner? So it's a psychological thing.
Yeah. And you see, when you say there are jobs, also you can look at a lot of job advertisements that go out. You'd find that they want 3 years experience, 5 years experience, 10 years experience. There's so many graduates that are looking for opportunities.
And where are they going to get that experience?
Exactly. Why can't companies sort of create besides internships and learnerships, if you have graduated and you don't have the years of experience that they want, take you apprenticeship, take you in, let you learn, because the truth is, you've gone to universities, guys, and you know what you've studied, and when you get into the world of work,
it's
completely different. At varsity, you're taught how to think, how to analyze, how to.
But not the practicality.
It's until you get into the world of work that you actually are now having to start to learn. And also, if they give you that opportunity and invest in you, you can grow in that space as well. But it seems that they're not prepared to do that.
I don't think they're not prepared to do that. I think like we're saying, right now, right, there's a bigger reporting umbrella, right, where companies need to go because there's a legislature, there's rules, there's regulations, and how these things are supposed to be done. So the policies in place, they're not in place in such a way that they empower the young people. The policies that are there exist in companies, but companies ultimately, because they pay tax, they are regularized in certain spaces. So part of those regularities maybe should include that 30% of your staff should contain such people that you are referring to. That way we are assisting, because now government says they want to give people jobs. I still don't know what strategy they're planning on using to give people jobs, but if that can exist as I'm just saying, engineering regulatory sector, in the clothing and textile, in just across all industries, then younger people will actually learn. Because if you've got a quota of 30% that you need to take, at least you are helping as a company. 30% in your company, that maybe translate into a third of uplifting the unemployed youth that is currently there. And then you do the same thing every year. How many people are we going to be assisting at the end of 5 years? And how many salaries in households will be there? Because now if there's 3 graduates, one is graduating this year, the one next year, the one in 3 years' time, 3 people from one household would actually be earning. And then if we are reliant on the social grant, then it means it's the social grant and 3 more incomes streams that are coming into one house. So
it makes sense.
To be honest with you,
I don't think so.
No, because if they really wanted to help the current situation of this country, government, I mean, it's been 28 years. They've known about the job situation in this country. It has not changed. It's actually gotten worse throughout the years.
But I think the challenge that we have is we're living in a country that is highly, highly, highly regulated, to an extent that even businesses cannot move around in terms of
there's a lot of red tape.
There's a lot of that because that's why even a lot of companies from overseas are no longer investing in South Africa, because we're highly regulated. And when you look at where does it come from, a lot of legislation was done in partnership with unions and unions had to put forward their interest, right? So it sort of put companies like against the wall in terms of how they need to maneuver and all of that. And that's another thing, that perhaps if we're not this highly regulated, we could be having more companies taking in people to work for them. And I love what you're saying, because also if that could be done and government would say, for a company that takes 30%, we're going to relieve you perhaps on a certain percentage when it comes to SARS payment. So they also are encouraged to do that, because obviously the production rate would not be the same when you take 30% of people that are coming without experience, right? So, yeah.
But also, I think, is it too late now, or is it fair to ask companies to regulate such a system, whereas I feel it should start at an earlier age when a person gets there? Because a lot of people, they go to matric and it's like, so what do you want to do? I get it's a BCom marketing. I get it's engineering. So do we start it while kids are young? Is it something that should be included in the educational system where now minds are starting to be intrigued and interested? Because honestly, a lot of us were not exposed to information. You got to varsity or I wanted to do a BCom, Mara. This thing, it's intriguing. So now you're changing courses. Now you have to explain to parents, because now it's like, the world is your portal with information. So is it a situation where it should start earlier? Because I feel like for companies, then it's not fair. Because then you run the risk of...
right? Grade 11, grade 12. We had career days, right, where different people from different career industries will then come in and speak about whatever it is that they do. Mara, sometimes as young people at that time, like, alinanako, because like now you want to pass grade 11, you want to go to matric, what you're going to do on the other side, like they will come actually and give us career guidance as to say, so I think it was maybe misguided from my school. It's a mistake that they made because they were not placing your maths and science students in one umbrella to say engineers, doctors, whatever, like, careers that are pertaining to those particular subjects.
Yeah.
To say, this is where you potentially can go when you decide to complete matric. Maybe look into this direction. And then kona lava man, bring in your Nelson Makamus of the world to actually come and speak about what he's done and why he's not doing it in South Africa and why he's such a world-known name, but he's not a household name in South Africa. So things like that. I think, on Mhlambe, make them choose. Because abantwana bathanda in power, in control. Say, actually, no, those that are interested in the arts, but as teachers first, let us have those conversations with our learners. And then uzobona now, it's okay, like this one is leaning towards this direction, this one towards that direction.
Yeah.
And then I think as a stepping stone of education inclusivity is what then the Department of Education will then agree to say, this is what we're doing. Therefore, we are calling on Brand SA, we are calling on Corporate South Africa to partner with the Department of Education in assisting this, so that at least by the time you complete your matric, you already know, as in, mangabambi microphone check, and you watch the camera, because that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And if you're a numbers person, you know that, okay, no, it's fine. That person came and explained accounting to me outside of high school.
Yeah.
Because the school only sends my check credits and balances, and that's pretty much it until matric.
Then you get to varsity, they're like, all that you learned in high school
doesn't exist.
It doesn't. You're like,
And then when you get to actually work, it's also a different story. But at least there's a channel that would then sort of participate in shaping the future of what our youth can then, look forward to. But right now, it's like, I heard Angie saying, Angie Mutaiga, by the way, the Minister of Education.
Yeah, you sound so bored saying her name. Like, what's happening, Nhlanhla?
No, where she, they're going to be introducing coding. And I feel like, why are they still talking about, like, the thing is, akirate, the whole discussion of things, because I was in politics, right? Guys, we don't get things done. We don't. She will come up and say, we are going to be talking about coding, right? And then Thulo's going to come with his faction, and then they're going to oppose it and say, no, it's too early for kids to start learning coding. And well, now you'll come and say, no, but the rest of Europe, the rest of this and that is already doing it. And then we debate. We don't get to a conclusion.
I think
implementation.
The crux of the matter here, which I believe is such a problem for us, we have people in leadership positions that are old.
Say that again.
And we have people in leadership positions, particularly in government, that are old.
Very old.
Their way of thinking is not even in comparison with the current generation.
Yeah.
We cannot even, right? The manner in which they think doesn't allow things to progress, right? The younger generation is able to think quite ahead and push for things to happen, right? And I'll give you an example. I used to work for a university, and the head of HR said, okay, as a university, let's let lecturers practice. So if Nhlanhla, you're teaching accounting, practice as an accountant. You're teaching law, practice as a lawyer. Because once you do that, because once you do that, you are able to bring that experience of the current in class.
Yeah.
It's not only going to be about the curriculum, because remember, curriculum lasts for 5 years. It gets developed for 3 years. So by the time it gets introduced, it's left with 2 years to be old. You get what I mean? Then it means people are actually being taught something that used to happen that is no longer happening. That's why we find that we graduate, we get into the workplace. It's no longer relevant. You get what I mean? So because the executive management were the old people, they could not get it, and they said no. And that's the same thing with government at the moment. It gets to that point where when we say coding, it will be back and forth, because to them, they can't even grasp.
They don't even know what coding is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't see the magnitude of it and the impact that it can bring in society. So that's why it will take forever. So if they can allow themselves, I mean, there are people that you look at them and you're thinking, why don't you just stay home and enjoy your pension? What are you doing there?
Because the benefits were not too low.
Marangiri, you
Let's
get
come
even
in.
when you go to pension.
No, it's not
Kantla.
the same.
Hi, man. But the country
I'll be
stagnant.
sidelined.
They're
I don't
messing
care about
up.
the country. I was in exile for you guys, so I'm still enjoying my exile time.
So you want
That's
to
the
leave that
mentality.
kind of a legacy where we look back and we say, yo, we wish Nhlanhla was not here.
I would be dead. I would not care. That's the mentality that they carry, to be honest. Because honestly, if they cared about anything, there would have been a process where we interchange leadership, and by so doing, generationally we are empowering the next generation, because they are the ones that will speak about women empowerment and but which women are they speaking to? Are they speaking to their peers and empowering more of their peers, or are they empowering the next generation? Look, I've had interactions with older political radical women, right, that will call us in, that will say, read this book, do this, do that, because they've seen something in you, and they will tell you that, no, I'll take you to places where I think you'll be able to dominate or be active there, because I can see that, no, unali this thing, but it's in line with that is not my line of work. However, I know this person and I know that person, but sometimes that's all they can do. There's gatekeepers on the other side.
It's quite interesting that government will talk about how companies should have succession planning to make sure that they give to the next generation, but they don't practice that, and it's so necessary in government.
But guys, then in you saying that, I have to play devil's advocate.
Cheers, sir.
I
The
really,
nails say it all.
I really have to play devil's advocate. Are we then, because I loved what you said, that the old people don't even understand the concepts that they're introducing. Young people do understand it, But with us, are we as young people, what's the word am I looking for? Complacent and not ambitious and not bold to say, oh, okay, I see there's a gap in education. This is how I think I can contribute to shrinking the gap.
Yeah.
Not even going to like your NG Motsecha, or just
Banyaza
doing it,
currently, before he becomes the premier.
Yeah, doing stuff with like, your Penguin books, your whatever. Like using resources, because now I feel like we have a tiger mentality where, okay, I want to make a change, but this is how, because everybody's going that way.
What he was
this
saying,
is how.
That's when it comes in, because now we're saying that entrepreneurs are not born in. That is a job, but it's not a job, because you be consulting for a company. Now, here's the problem when it comes to that. We are a bony gap, right? And you'd want to fill in that particular gap, but because the people up there don't know what you're talking about, they will not listen to you. They'll not give you a chance. Even worse, if you're not within their own structures.
I'm saying, because I need to there's gatekeepers in those structures. I'm saying for us, instead of going the normal route that everybody is going, why can't we then be courageous, brave enough? Because now I was told, if you know how to speak English in South Africa, you can get away with murder.
Everything.
So why can't we use that same mentality and see, okay, DBE is shutting me out. Who else can I point to? Or what person can I go to and be like, hi, this.
This platform here, right?
Yeah.
I think we need to stop trying to run to people, right? Because now people are not going to create opportunities for you, but you'll create opportunities for yourself.
Yes.
So now we've got social media apps that we can utilize for anything and everything.
Yeah.
So take my own social media page and start talking about the things that are going to better the society, things that are going to better the education system. Then they will come to you. Because if you're going to knock at different doors, my darling, you'll knock until your fingers start bleeding. And once they start bleeding, you're going to start saying hateful things. You're going to be hating yourself in the process. But if you take charge of what you can actually contribute, then you are one step, actually 100 steps ahead. Because by the time they come to you, they would have seen the content that you've been displaying out there. There's a track record of that. And I don't have to have the equipment that we are using. I can just use my phone and actually just say something impactful. Beke every day. It doesn't really matter how long I do it.
But how many
Until-
people think like that?
No,
I think
but
for us, maybe
why
that's
we're
where the
here.
problem.
But that's why we're here to have these conversations, to actually say, like, let's actually make the circle bigger and not just listen to what we have to say, but take heed the advice that is being given to you right now.
And
to say, go and
also,
start something on
you'd
your
find
own.
that there are many people that have brilliant ideas out there that have seen gaps and they have a way of closing those gaps. But remember, I spoke about three things. I spoke about poverty, I spoke about unemployment and access, right? So the issue of access, it's so big that people, they find that a person can take 3 to 5 years to get their ideas off the ground because either they don't have access to certain information they're looking for, or they don't have access to funding, or they don't have access to some material or some kind of stuff that they need to use for them to be able to go there. And as I said earlier, not everybody is an entrepreneur, so they would not have that ability to think like Nhlanhla would say, I need to sell this bottle of water, so I need to talk to this one and make sure that I do this and that for it to happen. Right?
Yeah.
So now it takes a while for things to happen. So then they find themselves stuck.
Okay, fine. I think let's just wrap up this one.
Yeah.
Because I think we were just taking a long time on this because we're trying to find solutions amongst ourselves.
No, I'm just asking. I'm
And,
just throwing questions. With you. Oh, okay. I can hear what you guys are saying.
Yes, so I think we can just wrap up this one and then just move on to the next one because there were so many.
But it's
Around the
interesting
political
because it's
side.
what it's happening. That's the truth about it. It's
So
our
in
everyday
conclusion,
life.
are entrepreneurs born? Are entrepreneurs made?
I think they are made. I think I used to believe they were born until COVID hit and people lost their jobs and people came out with like stuff which they were like, oh, okay, I can cover books and made that into a business. Oh, I've got. So I feel like COVID taught us that entrepreneurship is a passion.
Are you not driven
you-
by situation actually?
It was a situation
Yeah.
that drove people, but it drove them to find out what is their passion. And if you liked cooking, a lot of people cooked because people couldn't go to restaurants, then you deliver. If you liked mathematics, then you tutor online, with your TikTok, your Instagrams, your Facebook. So people really, because there was really nothing to do when you had lost your job, people wanted to be influencers. They took their phones and became funny. So it drove them to their passion, and their passion drove them to be entrepreneurships, to work for themselves. So I feel like we were taught that it can be made out of a circumstance when you put between a rock and a hard place and it's hard, or you are naturally just born with it to be like,
there's people
I
like
Nhlanhla, you
that.
can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mara for Nhlanhla, it needs to take hey ushrink kumele ufake manje stay soft uthi so I think I really love the conversation that we just had because it's eye-opening because it was okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
moving
Giving.
right along. Jeez. Okay, so politically we are 2 minutes and then we are leaving it, right? So Mpopala's motion of no confidence, impeachment. It's been 9 years since he's taken over office, and there's 9 months. Ooh, 9 months.
Yes, darling, yes.
So it's been 9 months since he's taken over office, and both the biggest, actually, Tshwane and City of Johannesburg are coalition-run metros.
Yes.
And they happen to be where the money is. I mean, that's where everybody comes here to get money. So they are coalition-run, and right now there's a motion of no confidence against her, and there might be an impeachment that is for her name to be removed. She says the reason why people want that is that she's close to cracking the root of corruption in Johannesburg, and those people know themselves and they don't want to be exposed. So because she's that close, they're trying to find a motion of no confidence, because I mean, it's not as if it's been 12 months or it's been a year, and we all know that even in a year it's not sufficient for you to make an impact anywhere.
Yeah.
Because you still need to grow. That's why things are given 3 years, so that you see whether are you sinking or swimming, and then after 3 years you can decide. But it's only been 9 months, and 9 months, notable little changes in Johannesburg right now. There's been a movement with regards to hawkers that are not registered. There's been kana ke eng ele ya go patala parking, and then you no longer paying. But I think Herman Mashaba did away with that.
Yeah.
On the streets. Yeah, he did away with that, and it never came back.
Yeah, Herman
Even when
cleaned
the
up
ANC,
a lot.
Yeah, he cleaned a lot, and right now with the properties that were overtaken by illegal people. Anyway, sorry guys.
Yeah.
Let's come back to her impeachment. Now, I was actually just talking about the notable things that the coalition party was able to do, and currently the coalition parties that are in Johannesburg are saying, and then she's like, no, I'm not going anywhere because I am close to exposing you guys, and up until that is done, I'm not going anywhere. What are we likely to see in Johannesburg in the near future?
It's gonna be one, I think, with the political turmoil that we are seeing in South Africa, I think it's very necessary for these things to happen, because it forces you as a citizen to, one, be aware and be intrigued and be inquisitive to find out, okay, so what is a coalition? How does a coalition work? So with this impeachment, what does it mean for me as, so because sometimes it's like, yeah, Herman Mashaba did well. Yeah, uqinile down, go down, then you go with that, being ignorant. And so I feel like it's about to get interesting. It's honestly, I feel it's really gonna be it's about to be interesting, because I feel like it's a piss over power right now. It's a piss over power. So a coalition happened because they didn't want a certain party to be the leading party in the metro. So, but also these parties individually had a vision and a goal how to run the city of Johannesburg, run the city of Tshwane, but now you have to compromise. I have to speak to Nhlanhla, I have to speak to you, but I want to push my agenda. And when my agenda is not met, I just feel like there's no compassion and there's not maturity to be like, oh, okay, we're here for the betterment of the city, of the metro. So how can we? So right now, because if she's going to say, I'm about to expose you, so then you ask yourself, okay, for 9 months, yeah, I understand first term in the first year when you're in office, it's either jumping on the work that the previous person had done and carrying on that legacy, or you're going to start your own, which means cleaning up some mess, and then the real work will have to start. So it's just like, okay, so what have you been doing? So you've been cleaning out corruption. Okay, so it's just going to be blows against blows and blows against
by
blows.
Blow by blow. But I think you're quite right. I think we're going to see a lot of turmoil because it's all a power struggle thing. It's the same thing that happened in the Eastern Cape where there was coalition and there was that back and forth that was happening, that the other parties would say the other parties not performing and all of that. But it boils down to power struggle at the end of the day. Because for me, when you say motion of no confidence for a person that has been in office for 9 months, what are you basing it on? Really? What are you basing it on? Because even in corporate, when you get in, the first day, you're probably still analyzing the situation. There's a lot that happened in the past. You want to find out what is currently happening and what are the points that need immediate attention, so those things can be attended to and all of that. So you're not giving this person an opportunity to come in and find out what's happening, so they can be able then to build a strategy that will take a good direction. So they just got in. I mean, you're basing it on what?
Because you're going to find out my dirt. You gotta go.
But also,
So that's what I'm saying. We're gonna see a lot of that back and forth, and my worry is it can get messy. We've seen people dying in the past,
it's
you know.
gonna get
So that's.
I'm sure Cheza Pictures are looking at it like, okay,
Yeah.
because honestly, it's like the first season. I was like,
this is so familiar.
interesting. Even the second season,
Yeah.
But also, I just feel like, is it because we have too many political parties in South Africa that we don't have, and for me, it would be very stupid to say this, to make this example, with America when they've had
an independent or the Democrats.
Yeah, for years. So they've had time to establish it. I feel like with us, there's no, because with them, Republicans stand for this. Democrats stands for this. Then there'll be an independent who's in between the two. So with us, you have your leading parties, then you have your other popular leading parties, then you have your small independents, and now everybody is. We want. So is it also confusing for us to be like, can we follow Nhlanhla and allow Nhlanhla to lead? Obviously, because it's politics, people are going to have disagreements. People are not going to be happy with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I just feel like having too many cooks in one pot, it will actually spoil the broth.
Yeah, it definitely will. But I guess, look, we are a month or two away from, no, it's actually 2 months with the larger political party, right? And with other parties also needing to do their bit as far as political change in their structures is concerned. But with her running one of the largest metros in, not really in the world, because Tshwane is the biggest one in the world. And this one is where the money, where decisions are actually, it's the money machine of South Africa. So whether she gets to stay or not, or before she actually exposes or does what she actually came in there for. Like you said, the question to us right now is, why are you here? And for as long as we don't know why you're here, it's always going to be a back and forth of people wanting to expose that you don't necessarily have a agenda of your own as the mayor. You're running somebody else's agenda. And by that, I mean, that's where the motion of no confidence can be pushed, because you're not running the metro's agenda. You are running an agenda that was sent to you to say, no, please pass this thing and then work on it. So we'll see how that one goes. Last one. Umsholos, why is he saying to Karen Moore, like he wants to take her to court? Because exposes a document that was already exposed. It's just that she's the one that took it and made it public. Uthanda indaba, girl, ufuna trend, ufuna uba famous, because now the is it SANEF, the South African National Editors Forum, has come on board to say they will protect Karen Moore with everything they have. They'll find legal assistance for her, because what she did, they feel it was not wrong, because the document was already a public document that anybody, even Musa Kaula, could have actually posted it, and then there would have been nothing wrong. Is it because it came from a journalist, and there's a notion that media, or traditional media at large, is captured? Could that be?
I mean, guys, let's remember how he operates.
Who?
Jacob Zuma.
How does he operate?
He
let me sit for this one.
Look, he's very good in delaying tactics. He's very good in shifting focus to other things. So
isn't it a presidential thing? Ramaphosa is also.
Well, I'm talking about him particularly. Okay. They all do, but with him, I mean, think of from the time he was the president. In any issue, and you remember that every month there was something. In his time, every month there was something. That's how he was. But he's very good at shifting focus or delaying things and all. And I think he's just trying to shift focus from what is supposed to, progress on his case. It's just probably that. I mean, why would you do that?
Like, what kind of country are we living in? The former statesman and the current statesman have got like one court case running after the other, and both of them, there's delay tactics.
Yeah.
No, I just think they're just showing that politics is really a dirty game.
Yeah.
But also for me, it's as much as the record was public, I mean, it's his constitutional right to fight it. I mean, he's got the resources and he's got the time. So if he feels like, no, I want to challenge this thing, I mean, it's well within his rights, as a South African citizen. But yeah, but
then why do you base your argument on? Because it was already public document.
I don't know. That's between him and his legal team.
And exercising his...
Yeah, and exercise, because he does have a right. If, something is to challenge it, to be like, and that's why you have a court of law. You place your facts, they place their facts, then there's the truth in the middle. So it's just a
waste of time and resources, really.
And delaying tactics.
But he has resources, so it goes to show, if you have resources
and time,
you can drag it out. It's like Kim Kardashian, when they wanted to republish that sex tape. She's like, this time, I've got time and I've got resources, so I can
bring it on.
So if Nami, I had time and resources, honey, trust me, I'd be like, hello,
let's do it.
How are you doing?
Okay, with Kim Kardashian, there's Faith Nkezi, who went and did things with her body, and then people from Kim Kiyama, South Africa. You spoke about it while we were offline, and saying that she's aware that her man is going through financial troubles, and with that said, she knows how her household is being run. And now she's going to stick and stand by her man. Why do you think she had the need to actually come out and say such?
She had to.
The thing is, I don't think anybody owes us an explanation, honestly.
If you have a reality show.
No, but it's got nothing. See, the thing is, her reality show has got nothing to do with her husband. It's her reality show.
But remember...
But who is consuming? You don't do the reality show for yourself. You do it for people to consume it.
Exactly.
And part of the storyline was the marriage.
Okay.
So now the husband is in the picture.
Yeah.
And also remember, for it's been weeks now that there's been reports about him losing everything and him getting
being a scammer, allegedly, apparently.
And so obviously because her followers have interest, she sort of has a responsibility to communicate her standing point about the whole issue. Because again, if she's too quiet, it's a matter of, okay, what's going on, So I think that's why she felt that she needs to come out and say, look, whatever you guys are saying, this is my husband. I still love him despite what's happening. I'm standing by him. I love him. I love my kid. We are a family unit. Yeah. I know and for me, that was powerful. I know what's taking place in my household, because we listen to everything that's happening, but both of them know how they're, making things work. Like in any other family, with your husband, with your partner, you've got this plan, if things change, you work out a plan, how things will work out. So I think for me, that was powerful, that she knows her stuff in her household and how they're managing it.
And she was smart in her response to, I know what's happening within my household. So you shut everything down. So you admit without admitting, and also you're not admitting that you're admitting.
Exactly.
So you're just like... And okay, I understand.
It's happening.
But it's mine.
Yeah.
But also then it brings the question, if you're having a reality show, or a public relationship, because some people feel like if you're having a public relationship, when you break up, you owe it to the public, because then you use that relationship for people to like you, and then you get endorsement deals, jobs. But it's a reality show. So why do you give us your own reality? We didn't say we wanted it.
But you guys are getting it, and
because the content, the content is great.
So what happens on the other side of the scenes it's not anything to do with what's here.
No, but because we understand the medium of television,
Yeah.
the space we are in it, all three of us. So we do understand there, because there is a format for everything, and because the show needs to be durated, timed. But other people don't understand that. But also, I just feel like if you're going to put yourself in public, explain everything, unless you want to be an enigma like Beyonce, Prince, and Sade, and you pop up when you pop up. But I feel like when you're starting out, you just owe it to, unlike Kanye Bao has done everything and said everything, so it's not a shock when she does something. It's like, she's
and you know, when you say Kanye Bao, she said something very powerful the other time, talking about her bleaching her skin. And she said, I decided to do this publicly. So if people are coming for me, I need to be able to stand for that because I decided to.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. When you say reality show, you're giving us your life. Once we follow that life, we feel that we are part of that life. And that's why we will feel that you have to explain yourself to us.
But also, why should it only be celebrated when you are doing great, when you are doing fine? But you are the one who was like, hi, Nhlanhla, ke batla reality show, or hi, I want to put my business out there. But when it's bad, people want, to be... It's like Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams said, I know I'm going through the most, and I always pick on people, and people are always going to talk. But if you put yourself in harm's way, when it's great, it's great. When it's bad, also,
It's
bad.
yeah. Or don't.
And that's how life is. It
Yeah.
has ups and downs, and it gets so, I think, inspiring when people see you going through those, roller coaster ride kind of emotions and experiences, because it shows that you're a human being. You also experience this thing, because also just painting this perfect life, it's not real. We need to get to that point where we show the downside of life, and how do you then come out of that and be able to move on from that.
It's like the Kelly Kumalo reality show. I love it. I really
I've never watched
love it,
Yeah.
because she, with the thick of things she is going through,
Yeah.
right? She's showing
She'll
it,
show you.
as much as it's curated and it needs to fit a particular mandate, but it's, if you choose for your life to be out there, there's gonna be backlash. There's gonna be
Kelly Kumalo. The Senzo Meyiwa trial is back in the courts. And I think every time we speak about this, you've always given me a side, Yoguti. There's something that we are not observing.
no, but
And whatever it is that we're not observing, I'm not sure, I still refuse to, okay, fine. Because you've always said that we're looking at the one side, Kelly, right? And how Kelly was in the house with 7 people. And there's another factor that had more to gain than Kelly herself.
I
And
mean,
you
when
said-
you watch the docu series on Netflix, it was great. It's brilliant because they really paint out everything out. For me, because then the case, there's different people who are coming. First time they arrested the wrong people, now they have. And then you start asking yourself, will this case be solved? Will it ever be solved? And why isn't it being solved? Me, the part that was like, was when the mom said in the docu, and I'm not going to paraphrase and quote it allegedly, apparently, is when she said they went to someone to try and
What is someone?
Sangoma, Inyanga, to go and win Senzo back, because
When she said we, who did she refer to?
I don't know, but she said she went with someone.
Oh, okay. So she didn't really say
But
who.
she didn't. But I think from what I gathered, I thought Senzo's first wife, because she has always been, outright to say she was fighting for her, and she wanted her to be okay with Senzo, and for her it was fighting that Senzo gets back with her.
But also, is it a cold case? Murder, crime, investigation?
Look, there's a lot of fun, ne? Much as I wanna openly have an opinion, right? Looking at all sides, it still does not explain, right, the fact that when the two friends are drunk, the other one says, "Ish, uban ban," you know, speaking about the person that was inside the house, right? There's also things like after a shot, ne? Election guys, Sunday evening, yeah, like it's not quiet out there, never. You know, Sunday it's like it's worse than
busy.
Saturday. It's actually quite busy, right? And now in a place in a township where there's a lot of activity that takes place round about that time, because it was not the wee hours of the morning, it was early evening. Now early evening, that's when like we're deciding, Tula, should we call it one more, two more nyana, and then we'll go? No, Chomi, like let's hang around 3 more hours and then we'll go home. There's a buzz of activity that takes place. And now hearing a gunshot, elokshin, we don't just hear a gunshot and carry on with our lives. We will want to go and investigate to check what's going on and find out, Guti, where was this gunshot? Is everyone okay? Because it could have been at a tavern, it could have been on the road, like it could have been anywhere. Now, all of those things are not documented to say it was run about this time. Down the road, there's a tavern. On that side, there's a passage, or this, or that, or the other, right? This particular house was not a gated house. Like, so the cars were parked outside and all of those things, right? So anybody can actually walk in and actually walk out. Now, for a person that was a bystander on that side, said no one came in and no one came out after that gunshot. This is someone that was witnessing this from outside, okay?
But also, there's another witness who said there was a car that came, and then after a few minutes, gunshots were there, and then it sped off. So it's very.
But
I think
you
it's
didn't
very
finish
painful.
what you were saying earlier.
All of that. I just think there's just elements.
What elements?
You need to go and
Kuluma.
watch the docu-series so you can understand, because some people will just take whatever I'm saying and be like, yeah, go watch the docu-series. Then they really unpack it, not pointing any
But
finger
for
to
me, it was
anybody.
very confusing, hey, because you get a lot of scenarios, and I think that it is about that, giving different scenarios of what could have happened, what could have taken place, because in the process there are also people like the ones that they said they're sitting next to electric box and
Yes.
and then suddenly they died. You know, so there are a whole lot of things that happens and confuse you. And the donkey, for me, it's about scenarios, because it leaves you so damn confused.
It needs to be about that, because the case is not solved yet.
Will it?
So they
You
can't.
see, that's why this morning I thought to myself, will it ever get solved?
I don't
It will.
know.
I think it will. Look at how Kimang Thabo Musia, who was the last witness, because there's a new witness on the stand right now. He spoke about the crime being reported 4 hours later after the crime scene had occurred, right? But he was not called to where the crime scene took place. He was called to the hospital. So he had to rush as a policeman, Olongkang statement, to do the gunshot powder test?
Yeah.
What
is
that
it
again?
forensic something?
Okay, there's a residue. Yes, the
Bali-
gun residue. So the
Ballistic
gun
something.
residue that needed to actually take place,
Okay.
right? Now, with all of that said, if a crime takes place now, right, and there's a cops, okay, maybe not a cops because he was rushed to the hospital, but there should be blood, there should be that residue that is down there. There's things that when I come in as a forensic investigator or a police from just down the road for that matter, then I will mark it and make it a crime scene so that nobody comes in, nobody goes out up until the forensic guys are there. But with this particular case, 4 hours later.
So
The
it
first call
basically says procedures were not followed.
Procedures
because
were not
if
followed.
procedures were followed, the correct information would have been documented, and that is the information that would be used in court.
Right.
So then that speaks to the capability of South African national services, police
But
services.
Also, like for me, it's okay. So your first instinct is not to go to. Okay, maybe I watched too many movies. It's not to go to the hospital, because I think you can still find the residue at home.
Yes.
You know, forensics people, how they do
Yeah.
their stuff. Then they find a strand of hair, then they're able to link it to, and you're like, yeah, John, you know, type of thing. Even blood, they're able to like, oh, this is where the blood, and they're able to. So for me, there's just like a lot of openings, and I feel so bad for the family, his children, and the supporters of Pirates and Senzo, because it's like you have to relieve the wound relieve the wound
Every time the trial
But
goes
but
on.
I think for everyone really, right? Kelukumalo, Senzo's family. I mean, I can just imagine how they're feeling. That, you know, every time it comes back, like you say, you have to relive the moment. But I think what the pain more than anything is there's no direction. You can't get to the point where you're saying, okay, this is the final, because you want some kind of closure where you're saying, okay, this is, and they have always been given an impression that, okay, we're coming to it, and then boom.
In the air. Look, the only problem right now, right, and what I'm not appreciating is the fact that it's turned into something else. It's now Advocate Mshololo versus Advocate Defo, and who they're representing and who's not being represented. But they're all sort of driving facts to what could have possibly taken place in that house. The only people that can actually tell us the truth of what transpired in that house are the people that were inside the house, and no one else. Because now there's a lot of cover up one after the other, right? And in so having the one cover up after the other, the truth is being diluted. And actually, I don't think we are at a point where we are able to find where the truth is. It's so much dilution that has taken place with this case, where this particular brigadier did not go to the house. Later on, this brigadier from the hospital with other team members went there. The Thabo Musia, who was then supposed to have the evidence in his drawer, did not have it until a certain time. So like there's just a lot of things, but like being honest with it and looking at all the angles and all the sides where maybe the external factor, like you're trying to say, Hore, might have been involved. It may have been a stray bullet that was meant for someone, but it did not go to that someone. The bottom line is, if that was the case, I would not keep quiet that this bullet was actually meant for me, but Tholo decided to come in front of me, and then that's how he got the bullet. Because of, then the questions are going to be asked. Oh, it's okay, fine. Nhlanhla, why would Tholo come in front of you and actually take the bullet? From who? From the guy with the dread. No, yes. Yeah. But you'll say from the guy with the dreadlocks, he was a bit tallish, he was speaking too fast. He was
but shouldn't everybody that was in the house go on the stand?
At some point they will.
But also, guys, you have to factor there's also trauma.
Yeah, 8 years.
Eh?
Yeah, 8 years.
Trauma is
trauma.
But I still need to speak the truth.
Trauma,
8 years
even
later.
after 30 years, trauma is trauma.
Once trauma is in your system, your brain works to protect you from that trauma. Because you don't know, like, there's a lot of things you can think about, you know. So maybe there was trauma. So even if the reporting of the incident, you know, certain things will be left out because now it's a trigger, and it was because you're so close to. There's a lot of factors that could have happened.
But now, if you are coming onto me on social media, everywhere I go, as much as Kelly Kumalo has had to be the one that becomes a victim in the whole thing, post this thing, the murder of Senzo Meyiwa, would you not be tired and actually say, guys, listen, like, do the lives and what way before it actually went to trial? Because it took them 8 years to actually get this case into trial. The truth could have been told a long time ago. This case could have been wrapped up a long time ago. With our, but I'm still saying that the people inside the house know what the truth is. Unfortunately, there's been cases where people pass on that could have given us a different perspective to this case. They are no longer alive. They're not even kind of deaf, where they could actually write and still say this is what actually happened. or blind to still be able to speak about the events that took place. They're no longer. And how many people are we going to lose? Why are people dying? The people that are supposed to speak, why are they dying?
I don't know.
I'm just asking.
Now I think till everybody that was in the house gets on that stand, that's when it can get clear. If they don't, there can be all these witnesses that are coming because then you're going to talk about the process, the procedure, who did what, who didn't do what, who was supposed to do what. But till they all get on the stand, we cannot have any kind of truth. Until they'll go on the stand and speak their truth, then we can make judgment from there.
Okay. All right, so we'll make judgments soon. Like, let's wrap the conversation up because it's been absolutely great. What else can we look forward to? I mean, like, okay, what else took place last week? Because, like, I've been a bit under.
Those things
I think we've exhausted, hey?
Yeah. So we've just literally exhausted everything. All right, thank you so much for coming, joining us,
Thank you for
and
the
having
invite.
a conversation. Are you going to be
It's
back
been such a
soon?
pleasure.
I shall go home and deal with my mental health and then I'll let you. I'm joking.
Not call it drama.
Or traumatized.
That's how we actually wrap it. Because there's other things that are happening, but you know what? I think we've said a mouthful for today, and let's allow other kids to actually breathe, consume the content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on the content that we have fed you this afternoon. And remember, man, are we going to say it together at some point? I've been hoping that one day we'll say it together. But anyway, up until that day happens, remember, guys, to never, ever, ever touch anything with half your heart. Boom.
Nkululeko is not here to say boom.
Nkululeko on Cultr.